Hello. I would first of all like to congratulate the Future Society and Elon Tech and all of those who contributed to the organization of the third edition of the Athens Roundtable on AI and the rule of law, under, of course, the patronage of the President of the Hellenic Republic, Katerina Skilaropoulou. I hope that this gathering, building on prior editions, will advance the dialogue on how to balance the imperative of spurring innovation, economic growth, and national security while safeguarding human rights and democracy. Allow me to very briefly say that what the research centers in Greece actually do. We did have a reference before on Dimokritos and the white paper on democratizing AI and national strategy for Greece. The Institute of Informatics and Telecommunications has a strong focus on AI with its research activities, covering a broad range of natural language processing and content management and analysis areas. Its outcomes on diverse fields like machine learning and knowledge representation have been applied to critical problems in societally important sectors like health, culture, and maritime. And the Institute also coordinates the Greek participation in the project European AI Platform. The Center for Research and Technology, CERT, in Thessaloniki participates in the implementation of the European AI Platform, AI for EU, research and development of AI technologies in favor of cybersecurity and malware detection in the field of public transport and telecommunication infrastructures. The Research and Innovation Information Technologies of Athena is extremely active in AI and language technology and digital readiness for the Greek language and application of AI machine learning models in the large-scale medical and genetic data. And finally, the Foundation for Research and Technology has created anthropomorphic robots with capabilities of self-action and cooperation with other robotic systems. Greece has a very dynamic innovation ecosystem of startups and spin-offs that are already leading the way in AI, and you can easily explore them through Elevate Greece. Finally, allow me to again congratulate all of the organizers and wish a very fruitful discussion today.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister, for joining us and for the support of the Greek government of this initiative. And now it's a pleasure to recognize Secretary General Maria Burrich of the Council of Europe. We're very grateful for the Council's support of the Athens Roundtable since inception, and are particularly honored to welcome the Council of Europe as a co-host of the Roundtable this year. It is now a pleasure to invite you to listen to Secretary General Burrich's welcome remarks.
Distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, today the fast development of artificial intelligence is pushing at the boundaries of the possible. In the years ahead, this will deliver further benefits for our societies in terms of what we know, how we spend our time, and how our economies grow. But there are also dangers. The development and operation of AI systems remains opaque. Accountability and responsibility are difficult to determine and enforce, and automated decisions raise the prospect of bias and discrimination. So the Athens Roundtable is right to hold this event on AI and the rule of law. Solutions must be found. A number of governments have taken initiatives on their own, but the reality is that artificial intelligence systems are designed and deployed across national boundaries. So a multilateral approach is best placed to succeed. Harmonizing rules, leveling the playing field, establishing legal protection with proper oversight. In light of this, the Council of Europe's Ad Hoc Committee on Artificial Intelligence is examining the potential elements of a legal framework for the development, design, and application of artificial intelligence based on our human rights, democracy, and the rule of law standards. At our Hamburg ministerial sessions in May, our member states invited us to move forward and consider the possibility of a binding and transversal legal instrument based on general common principles and on which negotiations will start next spring, and additional binding or non-binding instruments designed to tackle the issues raised by AI in specific sectors. On this, progress is already underway on autonomous vehicles, education, justice, and more. As we progress, we are engaging with a wide range of stakeholders, and there is certainly a range of organizations that share our determination to ensure that the rule of law harnesses AI to benefit of people in Europe and around the world. So we need discussion and cooperation. This event is part of that approach. I welcome it and wish you all a successful roundtable.
Thank you very much, Secretary General, for your warm words of welcome, and thank you to you and the Council of Europe for your support of the roundtable and for co-hosting it. It is now a pleasure to recognize Dr. Jalassi of Unesco and to invite you to hear his welcome remarks.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, I would like first to thank you for joining us in this discussion on artificial intelligence and the rule of law, co-hosted by UNESCO, the Council of Europe, the European Parliament Science and Technology Committee, the Future Society, and IEEE. Artificial intelligence has unprecedented potential to improve lives and livelihoods across the world. There are also a number of examples of AI helping us make remarkable progress towards achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. However, while there is an enormous potential for digital transformation, there are also challenges many countries face in terms of human and institutional capacity gaps to develop and to govern artificial intelligence. UNESCO's goal is to strengthen cooperation to foster these capacities, aimed at strengthening the opportunities offered by these technologies, mitigating the risks associated with them, and, if necessary, regulating and prosecuting eventual harms. Many of you are aware of UNESCO's Judges Initiative, which has trained so far more than 23,000 judicial operators from over 150 countries worldwide. In 2020, we decided to expand this program to cover the human rights implications of AI and emerging technologies. We are working around 4 pillars in this domain. First, UNESCO has established institutional partnerships with regional and national courts, as well as with international associations of judges and prosecutors, in order to foster the respect for human rights and the rule of law at all levels. Second, we aim to support national schools of judges and prosecutors to strengthen capacities related to the human rights implications of new technologies in the legal context, as we have done on issues related to freedom of expression, access to information, and the safety of journalists since 2013. Third, UNESCO's Judges Initiative has developed a comprehensive set of tools to train members of the judiciary on international and regional standards on freedom of expression. These include massive open online courses, webinars, on-the-ground trainings and workshops, as well as toolkits, guidelines, and repositories. Fourth, digital technologies offer a potential to strengthen access to justice, and will be working with technologists in order to help transform the justice system in a way that respects, protects, and promotes human rights. At this year's Athens Roundtable, we are launching the registration for the global Mooc on AI and the rule of law with the Future Society, CETIC.br, the National Judicial College, and IEEE. The course will be available in English, French, Spanish, and Portuguese. Let me reiterate UNESCO's commitment to enhancing future-oriented reflection, to strengthen dialogue and capacities with respect to the challenges and opportunities of AI and the rule of law. Let us work together to mitigate risks, foster change, and collaboration towards a human rights-based approach to AI. In this spirit, I wish you a fruitful discussion over the coming 2 days.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jalassi. And now finally, it is a distinct pleasure and honor to recognize United States Senator Richard Brumenthal and to invite you to listen to his opening remark that will frame our roundtable and our deliberations very nicely. Senator.
I am honored to speak at the Athens Conference on Artificial Intelligence and the Rule of Law. I want to welcome all of the attendees to this very important event and to thank you for grappling with the pressing need for international cooperation to protect and advance human rights and democracy in the digital age. I am especially glad to see that this year's roundtable is contending with the important question of the need for trustworthy, reasonable governance and regulation of AI and persuasive technologies. In recent months, I, like other lawmakers in the Congress, have been particularly focused on the harms that big tech companies like Facebook can have on our society. We have all seen compelling evidence of how these powerful companies put profits ahead of people, especially our children. At recent hearings of my subcommittee on consumer protection, we learned how social media platforms like Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and YouTube can create literally perfect storms that promote addiction and amplify the vulnerabilities of teens. Through sophisticated algorithms, including artificial intelligence, tech companies lure kids into spending hours and hours on their apps. These algorithms often latch onto teens' insecurities, pushing them into darker and darker places and exacerbating those downward spirals. Of course, the harms that we're witnessing extend far beyond kids. Algorithms designed to drive up revenues at all costs far too often prioritize inflammatory content and misinformation. Across the United States, these dangerous algorithms have taken adults down rabbit holes of extremist content, leading sometimes to violence. The problems are often worse outside the United States, as big tech companies are even more lax about extremist content in the rest of the world. In fragile societies, communities have been inundated with misinformation, hate speech, and violence, leading to destruction, death, even genocide. In the digital age, we inescapably face these challenges together. As technology doesn't recognize or abide by national boundaries, we must therefore work together to combat these harms. In the United States, we've benefited from models and leadership provided by the European Union and United Kingdom. As our laws have been an inspiration for others in some areas, Europe's privacy rules have created a blueprint for us in Congress, and Europe's antitrust actions have informed enforcement of our own antitrust laws. Just as an example, I had the privilege of hosting Baroness Kidron in my subcommittee earlier this year. She has been a leader in the UK on protecting kids online, including through the creation of a children's code for online safety. The lessons that she shared with me and my colleagues have been a model for addressing the profound risks that big tech poses to kids. I hope that Congress picks up this work and carries it even further. And I firmly believe that we must have more of these exchanges and continue to cooperate if we are to successfully take on threats to democracy, human rights, and the rule of law that we are experiencing all around the world. Thanks to the Athens Roundtable on Artificial Intelligence and the Rule of Law for bringing stakeholders to the table to have what I hope is a productive working session about all these issues. It's really essential that we work across borders to enable the safe adoption of new technologies in a way that promotes and protects our core values. I thank you so much and wish you well.